Hello, everybody. My name is Teddy. I am back again with my software development class, and today we are going over CC's Candy Corner, the inventory management system implementation plan. Just a brief introduction and going over a bit of the project scope here. The project goal is to automate the standalone inventory management system for CC, the owner of CC's Candy Corner. She already has an existing based spreadsheet inventory tracking system. However, due to increasing in amounts of orders, it's getting harder for her to manage it that way. So she is looking for an inventory management system to provide clear insight into stock availability, to improve her efficiency, with an initial focus on the core inventory management abilities. So add bracelet, view inventory, update stock status, delete bracelet, etc., and basic reporting. Now, just a quick brief recap of some of those functional requirements. Functional requirement 001 will be add new bracelet. This will be a form that allows CC, the owner, to input the bracelet's details, so the ID, the description of the bracelet, aka its name, the quantity that they have in stock, as well as the price amount. Functional requirement 002 will be view inventory, so we're going to want to display all current inventory with sort and filter options. Functional requirement 003 is update stock. This allows us to change any items that maybe are not discontinued, but they are just out of stock, and maybe CC got the beads, and she's made more of them. So now she wants to update them back in stock. So that's the purpose of functional requirement 003. 004, delete items. Basically, if a bracelet's discontinued, maybe CC doesn't want to make it anymore, maybe it didn't sell as hot, she can delete them from her system. And then finally, the functional requirement 005 will be a low stock report that generates when items fall below a certain threshold. So let's say that threshold is set to 5. If Will Byers' Stranger Things bracelets go, before or below that 5 threshold, like maybe they were at 6 and somebody purchased like 3 of them, well, then it's going to flag that and generate a report to let CC know that, hey, this bracelet is out of stock, and let her know at that point in time whether or not she wants to update it. Some of the non-functional requirements she asked for, the 001 non-functional requirement is she wants to have an intuitive GUI. Because she is not a tech-friendly person, she wants something that she can easily navigate without getting too confused or lost. Non-functional requirement 002, she wants fast response times with minimal delays in processing. And then for non-functional requirement 003, that will be for security. Basically, she wants to make sure that all data is securely accessed. And then there's input validation, just to prevent any issues of inputting wrong items, or ruining the ruining the stability of the database and the integrity of the data. Now, keep in mind, according to the owner of CC's Candy Corner, all of these non-functional requirements are a must-have. Now, for the coding strategy when we approach this, for the logical layer, we have classes and objects such as define bracelet and inventory manager. For encapsulation, we're going to use private attributes with public getters and setters. We need those specifically to generate the reports back to the user to let them know. Collections, this will be used lists, similar as setting those private getters and setters, because they will be tied into getting that information, but for a different way. This will be more for the searching and sorting aspect of when you're trying to view an item in the management. Then we have, some generics for type safety. Like example, we list bracelet. And then for any and all error handling, we want to implement robust try catches. to provide error messaging and block anything that is unwanted behavior. So let's say they're putting in, money mounts. Well, then they can't put in a negative number. We're going to want to make sure to put in try catches, etc. for that, to make sure that we are getting those. All right, now some of the UI and data layer, some of the strategies for that is using Java FX. We want the UI to react to user interactions via event handlers. So like if they want to add something, well then it needs to understand that event at that point in time will pull up a form in which they could input that information. As I mentioned before with the input validations, those will be client-side validations. Basically, it will be like, hey, backend, does this data look good to you? If it doesn't, then it will let the user know when they're trying to input it. Let's say they put in a negative thing, it will input that it will validate that input and be like, hey, it's not a negative number. All right, for the data layer, we are going to be using SQLite, and which is standard for any Java database interactions. We're going to have prepared statements. These are required for proper SQL injections of data into the database, as well as any performance issues. We want to make sure that we're adequately properly closing connections for statements, stuff of that nature, not leaving data upended, and making sure we're setting proper termination points. God forbid if the person or CC is processing the data and it's taking a long time due to a large data amount, maybe that she wants to only back out and she wants to only cut off or she wants to limit down the data that she wants to provide a faster response, stuff of that nature. We want to be able to ensure that during that processing that they have the ability to properly close off those connections and not leave it open-ending, because that could cause performance degradation. Finally, all SQL operations have to meet the standard for CRUD, aka insert, select, update, delete commands. As you see here, as we get going, we do have all of those requirements here. In the inventory management, that is where all of those are stored. So this is going to be the first phase, which is logic and data validation. The components for this will be the bracelet inventory class, which defines the structure and behavior of the bracelet in the inventory. Lets the software know that is a bracelet. The second component is the inventory manager class. This is where all of the CRUD logic is stored, so all of the getters and setters will be there. They add, update, delete, report functions, etc. Now, the strategies behind this is we want to ensure that all unique IDs, valid quantities, price formats are all met. We want to ensure that proper checks are being placed on all data to prevent any errors and data inconsistencies. We're wanting to make sure we're properly protecting data within objects by, following encapsulation rules with proper getters and setters. And then we're going to want to make sure we're using collections. Now, this are our class models for this inventory management system. As you can see here, we have our bracelet class. We have our database manager class, we have the main application class, and the inventory manager class. Now, to show the relationships between them, as you can see here, the inventory manager will be using and has the relationship with the database manager class. And then the main application will be accessing the inventory manager, because it needs to be able to use the main application needs to be able to function and navigate that inventory management aspect of it. I wanted to make a note that the main application class does avoid static methods. That is a requirement for our class, so I will be setting that. I did want to make a note that there. Now this is our UML activity flow for the add bracelet. As you can see here, the user will start by opening up the inventory management system. This represented by the little black dot here, that's going to be our start point. Once the user has accessed the system, then they're going to want to enter details of the bracelet into UI form, or on the UI form, excuse me. And then they're going to click Add Bracelet. From there, it's going to go into the application layer of it, in inventory management, where it's going to update the in-memory inventory list, return operation successful or failure message. Then it's going to go to the presentation level, where it's going to either provide one or the other message. So did it get the receive request? Yes. Was it successful? No. Display an error message. Was it successful? Yes. It says bracelet added successfully. It clears the form field, and then it refreshes the inventory screen if it was currently visible at that moment. Now, phase 2, we have several different testing types that we're going to be doing. We are going to do functionality testing to ensure all functional requirements, aka FR001 through 005, are met. We're going to have usability testing, in which I am going to get my wife, Cece, to try to test out the software and get any feedback from them on terms of like how easy it is for them to use it, and is the flow of the process working for them. Next, we're going to do performance testing to assess whether or not larger amounts of data may cause the system to slow down. For example, here I have listed, we're going to add 100 items, and then we're going to try to retrieve it, and then we're going to see how long it takes for either of those things to come back, and then we're going to, adjust accordingly, because maybe 100 items is too much currently for the system, but maybe 50 items works perfectly and that's still within it. So we need to provide that kind of performance testing to see where that sweet spot is. That way we can let them know, hey, don't go past this point. It's something I deal with very, very, very much a lot in my data analyst type work. We process a lot of data, and our DevOps is very, very specific on how much processing we could do in one short amount of time, and any other actions that could cause that processing to break or stop or fail during that process. Now, some of the sample test cases we have here are the add valid bracelet. Excuse me, let's go back. The expectation of it is it's going to say item added confirmation. So it's going to say a bracelet was successfully added. And then our second sample test case is going to be entering text into the price field. The expectation is it should kick it out because it's not set to receive anything other than a currency amount. So dollar amount in this case, anything else will get rejected. Now for the graphical user interface, the framework we're going to be using is JavaFX. This is because it has a rich desktop application experience. From all the videos I've seen, it looks designed for user-friendly and non-tech-savvy people in mind, so it would be perfect for the scenario in which we need it for. Now, the strategy behind this phase will be event-driven programming. We need the UI to respond to user actions, button clicks, text input, stuff of that nature. The UX needs to be designed for an intuitive, simple, and consistent user experience. We don't want them to go to click on the form and get blasted in the face because the sudden jarring switching of the background color of a certain page, for example. We want to make sure everything's uniform and, very easy to read and navigate. Now, the main application class is responsible for orchestrating the different GUI screens and connecting to the inventory management system, as I mentioned before, when we're going over our classes and our relationships. And then we want to provide visual feedback, like I said before, with clear confirmation messages, error alerts, and a dynamic UI update. Now for the database, we are going to be using SQLite as per specified in the requirements of this assignment. I believe that this was chosen because it is lightweight. It's embedded within the IDE program that I'm currently using, so it's perfect for that. And then we're going to use the Java database connectivity. This allows us to work with our IDE to get it to connect to our database and do all of our database functions within it. The components that are required for that is our database manager. It handles all the direct database interactions, aka opening and closing of any connections, executing any SQL queries, whether you want to update data within a table or change stuff about the database, add extra fields, etc., change primary keys. So for the test cases we have here, I skipped over that because we already did that. Don't mind me here. This is the final slide. This will be what it will be once it's fully deployed. I broke it down into pre-deployment and post-deployment. So for pre-deployment, we're going to bundle all the Java FX and the Java database connectivity dependencies. And we're going to plan to migrate that over to Cecilia's system. We're going to do that by compiling an executable JRR file, and we're going to transfer that along with the database dependencies mentioned above to CC's device. And we're going to provide instructions on how to run that software. That falls in line with the next part of it, which is the initial testing of it. And that's where once the software is fully completed, we want to be able to fully walk them through in a bit more hands-on aspect than if you would when you were doing the testing. Testing, we only want to make sure features work. Once we go to the initial training of it, we want to make sure that the system by then has already completely worked, the bugs are worked out of it, and it's just purely going to be them working with the program as intended. Now for post-deployment, we want to establish contact. Seeing that it's my wife for this, that's pretty simple to do. She has my contact information. We are going to teach her how to do a weekly database backup routine. The reason we want to do this is we want to keep data integrity, as well as we want to make sure that we have any backup for record keeping purposes. And finally, we want to set up a feedback channel. Given that it's my wife, that's probably going to be phone, email, in person. But we always want to set up something so they can give us feedback. Maybe while they're working on it, there's a bug that pops up that neither of us intended or, realize could pop up. Get those weird one-off situations. Stuff of that nature, we want to be able to provide a feedback channel. That way we can know what's working, what's not working, and then I can improve on that. Anywho, that is my implementation plan, and thank you guys so much for sticking with me. Have a great day.